Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Today, we have just got to talk more about what's happening in Los Angeles and Hollywood with these fires and how people that we've gotten to know online, different protesters there. Some have evacuated and come back. There is a lot going on, so we're going to check in with a bunch of them and really just dive into this. In fact, I got to do a whole new video later today because there's a bunch more Scientology news I wanted to bring you, but I can't fit it all into one. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to the moderators for being here, the members, and everybody in the live chat. And if you're catching this on the replay, hey, thank you for being here. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and jump in those comments. Now, I wanted to kick it off here with we're going to look at something from the underground bunker, because where my brain goes is, how is Scientology going to respond to this, especially if they are ordered to evacuate? And I sat down and I did an interview yesterday, and we're going to look at a clip from it coming up with Gary Jackson Morehead, who was the former security chief at Scientology's international base. This was the guy who set up these protocols and procedures. And not only that, Jackson was a Riverside firefighter for over 20 years. So he really knows what he's talking about, and he's got this perspective from Scientology as well. And we're going to look at stuff from Scientology Audit Streets LA, Jessica Palmadessa. We're going to check in on a few people. So let's kick things off, you guys, with a article that's out from the underground bunker. Scientology reacts to Los Angeles fire apocalypse, offers shelter at its orgs. Scientology's organization. And I will agree right off the bat, this thing is apocalyptic in every sense of the word. We're watching in horror as our hometown goes up in flames. Numerous people we know, including family members, have had to flee their homes with what they can carry as wildfires stoked by Santa Ana winds are destroying entire neighborhoods. You know, this whole thing with the Santa Ana winds too, it's so crazy. These winds they are powerful, and they've had hurricane force winds up to 100 miles an hour wind gusts, which is what has been fueling so much of this. And there's been a break in the wind a bit, but a recent, I was just watching the news about this, and they were saying the winds are expected to pick up, and that is not good at all. If you live in LA or you're from there, you know that wildfires fueled by the Santa Anas are a part of life, but this is off the charts. We want anyone we know there to prioritize their lives and safety over property. We know it is very difficult. It is a very difficult decision whether to leave when fires are so unpredictable. And yes, we want everyone to be safe, including Scientologists who live in Los Angeles at their greatest concentration in the world. This is a thing that, of course, I'm concerned about, everybody in that area. And we're going to get into more of what we think Scientology's reaction, what it should be, what the protocols were that they once had in place, and how that may very well not be happening today, which I find disturbing. Just after midnight, the mandatory evacuation area for the Sunset Fire in red on this CAL FIRE map was situated just across the 101 freeway from Scientology's Hollywood Celebrity Center, which we've outlined in yellow. So there you go. You got Celebrity Center over there, and not that far away, you've got the blue buildings. Scientology's Ideal Org in Pasadena is pretty well south of the yellow warning area for the fires there. And we've seen Pasadena, MD Media 18 has been out there live streaming and protesting in Pasadena a whole bunch. We've seen them out there. Meanwhile, word has gone out among Scientologists to assemble as volunteer ministers at the Pacifica Base location known as Big Blue to the public at Sunset and L. Ron Hubbard Way. So Scientology is getting their volunteer ministers together, as we know they would, and we'll probably arm them with Way to Happiness books that are flammable to hand out. I don't know. They're not known for appropriately responding to a disaster. Honestly, you guys, I hope they do. I hope they actually help people. I hope they open their orgs to provide shelter for people who need it. That is a step in the right direction. And if they are doing that, and that's true, and they're not going, well, I can't even get the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, if they're not going to use this as a recruitment tool, but they are. We know they are. We know they are. That's why they do it. Come into our buildings and seek shelter. And while you're here, why don't you do a personality test? Watch this film, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So let's see. This notice was posted by the Scientology Los Angeles org on its Instagram account. Scientology LA wildfire relief support available at the Church of Scientology Los Angeles. We're here for anyone and everyone affected by the wildfires currently impacting areas such as Pacific Palisades, Pasadena, Altadena, La Crescenta, Montrose, and beyond. The Scientology volunteer ministers have set up headquarters at the Church of Scientology of Los Angeles to provide a safe place for you and your family. So that's right at the blue buildings at the main entrance where you come in, the Los Angeles org. Also the parking lot where they have the food drives, that's that area there. We are here to help food and hygiene supplies, sleeping arrangements. I was going to say something snarky about bunk beds, but I won't right now. A team of dedicated staff and volunteers ready to assist. Gives the location, gives the phone number. This alert was being passed around by Scientologists on Facebook. And this is the alert there. It says, gives an evacuation assistance hotline, volunteer minister and donations hotline, and accommodations hotline. The Pacifica Base and Celebrity Center International have organized to be a central point for help and response to the Los Angeles fires. Any public can come to Pacifica Base at any time, day or night, and receive assistance with accommodation, supplies, food, assists, and any other needs. Because remember, assists, they're offering Scientology assists. Those are the tools that they have. I mean, can you imagine, like, you're losing your home, you've lost your home, or you don't know what's happening? I mean, people have lost their lives, and you walk in to a Scientology building and it's feel my finger, thank you, feel my finger, thank you. I don't see how that's helpful. Any public can come. Okay, we read that. Oh, any public can come to Pacifica Base at any time, day or night, and receive assistance. We've set up spaces and activities, including children's activities, which are safe and clean and will accommodate everyone. Additionally, we've set up centralized terminals for volunteer ministers' activities and donations to assist those in need. Each LA area Church of Scientology is undamaged and is being protected. All orgs are open to the public and have set up disaster relief. At this point, we are directing the public to not go into the Pasadena church until the fire in this area is gotten under control. If you or someone you know needs assistance or is in the evacuation zone, we stand ready to assist you. Everyone is welcome at the Pacifica Base, and we have set up our facilities to accommodate you. Then they go ahead and they give more phone numbers, saying they have water, unperishable food, blankets, bedding, hygiene supplies. If you're interested in making those donations, they said that they are collecting those. And then there's a map here, which we're going to look at some of that. At this point, we want our readers in Los Angeles to secure their safety and avail themselves of whatever resources they might need. Naturally, with their track record, we expect that Scientology will turn any natural disaster into a public relations opportunity, and we are as skeptical as anyone else about its offers of shelter to the public. So, you guys tell me your thoughts on this. What do you think? Am I just jaded? Do we really think, are they going to be set up to help, or are they going to turn this into Scientology recruitment? And I can only base this on my experience in Scientology, my 35 years in this human trafficking cult, leaving with 3 generations of my family, and the time when I was even a Scientology public and worked with the volunteer ministers. We were really pushed. More than the push to help people was the push to get a photo op, get it on video or get it on camera. Whatever the good works are that you're doing. That was the priority. So when I talk about this and I read this, I can't help but have those thoughts. Those are my thoughts based on my experience. But tell me what you guys think. Do you think, put a 1 in the chat if you think Scientology is going to milk this for all it's worth to recruit and be a photo op. And then put a 2 if you think they're actually really this time going to come through and help people. I mean, offering the space is good because, I mean, this is Last I checked and heard, there's 130,000 people under evacuation orders, and nothing shows that everything showing is that it's just going to get worse. Buckled Up Buttercup, great question. Are they opening their hotels? I do not believe so. It sounds like they're opening the orgs themselves. And didn't that statement they said earlier talk about going to Pasadena, and then they said don't go into Pasadena? But sounds like a lot of things are happening around at the blue buildings there. Okay, a lot of you throwing in ones. I'm glad I'm not jaded, and this is just Natalie being Natalie and thinking the worst, assuming the worst with Scientology. Keep them coming. I want to know your thoughts. Keep them coming. Amy Kimball, good point. Surprised they didn't say bring you and your valuables for a bridge to total freedom. Amen, sister. Seriously. Pause for Andrea. This is a great point. It's not just those directly affected by the fires. The smoke air quality would be insanely bad. And it is. It really is. I'm seeing a lot of ones there. MD Media 18, who's been out there. I hear they are setting up at the Rose Bowl, handing out food, and supposedly the way to happiness is there. Okay, so there you go. MD Media 18 is hearing that Scientology is setting up at the Rose Bowl, handing out food, which is good, and supposedly way to happiness books. No, that is not helpful. Let's see. MD Media 18, I think we got a clip from you coming up as well. Let's take a look at a map. There is an app, and you can also find it online. It's called Watch Duty. And if you're in the area, and if you're not in the area and you just kind of want to keep tabs on it, you can go to this website, or you can download the app on your phone. But as you can see, I mean, look at this. This is the Eaton fire. I think MD Media 18 has gotten some footage of that. I've got a clip. You can find it on his channel. The Sunset fire, the Palisades fire, the Hearst fire, Lydia fire. So again, you can check this out. This is Watch Duty. Especially if you're in the California area, the Los Angeles area, you want to download that app. And again, if you want to kind of keep track of things and where they're going, it's a good resource there as well. All right, now let's take a look at something. Let's see. This is from, hold on, let me back this up. This is from TikTok. To give you an idea, we're going to look at some clips from Jessica Palmadessa and William Gude, who did a lot on his Film the Police channel. The traffic, when the fire came across, when you could see it in the Hollywood Hills, people living there started to evacuate, including Jessica Palmadessa. It was like all hell was breaking loose. And look at this. Look at the traffic that was happening. This is Hollywood traffic causes gridlock as 130,000 people are ordered to evacuate. And we're going to look at some clips from Jessica Palmadessa. She was stuck in traffic as well. The crazy thing that, that William Gude brought up in one of his videos is how he had said if a lot of these people had gone south, not just on Hollywood Boulevard, that you could have found a route around. And we're going to look at a clip from an interview I did yesterday with Jackson, who had some amazing tips for not just if you live in the area of these fires, but things that we really should all be thinking about when it comes to our safety and being prepared for a natural disaster. Let's see. When was this, Jamie? That was yesterday. So let's look at a clip from Jessica Palmadessa. Let's start there. And she's walking down with William Gude, Film the Police LA, Scientology Audit Streets LA. There were a lot of people out in this one area. The police were out. They had a place kind of apart, sectioned off. And as you see, many of the people who are there are now using masks to help with the smoke. I mean, anybody with respiratory issues, even if you don't, that is a lot of smoke to inhale, and it's not going anywhere.
Let me.
So they were out there. This was after Jessica, she evacuated from the Hollywood Hills and went down into the lower around Hollywood Boulevard and that area for, for safety. I want to check in. We're going to look at more clips from them. I also want to share a clip with you from Tory Magoo. I sat down with Tory yesterday and we did a video and she shared with us what her experience has been. She lost power out in Burbank. Her son evacuated the building that he lived in. The back end had caught fire. And as I understand it, he is still with Tory, which is good. Many of us absolutely love Tory Magoo 44. And she did a video last night updating. Let's take a look.
I'm home and I'm safe. We went to Costco and got some stuff that we needed, and we went to Trader Joe's. So now we have some food and drinks, and we're good. So anyway, that's all. I just wanted to let you know, and I hope you all stay well. I'll keep you abreast as it goes. But so far, I think it's going to be fine. I hope it is in my area, and I really hope for everybody else they get somehow. They've got to organize Hollywood because I don't see how these people are going to get out otherwise. Tricky. And if anyway, if I can help anybody at all, let me know. I'm home.
So Tory got some supplies. I know some people, we were worried because she didn't have a lot of food in there at the time. And she went and stocked up and she's got people with her. And for now, she still has power, last I heard. And I think she will. So she's in the Burbank area. And she's right. This hole where the fire is heading towards core Hollywood. I just don't know how they're going to get all those people out of there. She does, Nisa. She really does have a heart. Absolutely. MD Media, she's so sweet. She reached out to me. That's fantastic. Yep. Glad Tory is safe. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many people that we're thinking about. Now, let's take a look at a clip from MD Media 18. He was over at the Eaton Canyon fire and shared some footage of that. He was a safe distance away there. Let's take a look.
There's something on fire right down there at the bottom. No, it's blowing away from me. It's not too bad right here where I am. What's up with this stand?
It is amazing how much damage these fires have already done and how they're continuing to grow. Just continue to be safe out there, Matt, and anyone else who is live streaming or, who's been involved in the protest movement. Obviously, your safety comes first. Monrovia. This was Monrovia. Okay. Thanks, Matt. And thank you for that. Let's get a little update. Literally, Serge did an update because, he lives in the area with his husband, literally Michael. Let's take a look at that. He made a post to his community page. This is from Serge Del Mar. He said, "It is with heavy hearts and deep concern that we're reaching out to all of you guys today. Michael and I want to let you know that for now, we are safe. Yet it is a rapid changing landscape. The wildfires raging across California are unlike anything we've ever witnessed. The devastation is unimaginable. We've been speaking with friends who have lost everything, their homes, their memories, their sense of safety. It's been heartbreaking seeing so many pet parents experiencing this loss alongside their beloved animals who are also displaced, frightened, and struggling to cope with the chaos. In the midst of this tragedy, we feel compelled to do what we can to help. We will continue delivering our no more drama, calming relief to shelters, rescues, and pet parents in affected areas." And I do believe that's a product that him and Michael have in sell that helps relax pets. I can't think of a better time for that to come in handy. We hope it will provide some comfort and relief to pets suffering from overwhelming anxiety during this time of crisis. To everyone affected, our hearts are with you. If there's anything we can do to support you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Let's come together as a community to help each other heal, and rebuild. With love and solidarity, Serge and Michael. So we got an update for them, and it's good to hear that they are safe as well. And if you guys are in that area, you're around these fires, jump in the chat. Let us know how you're doing, what's happening where you are. And same thing, if you're on the replay, please jump into those comments and let us know. Let us know. Let's look at a reaction from Down the Rabbit Hole News. Rabbit jumped on and she had some things to say. She was reacting to what's happening. Let's look at a clip.
Like, if there's one thing that this, country has shown us, is that people will have more of everything and one of everything, if you know what I mean. Absolutely. Thank you. Ronan.
And she was talking about kind of this, you have some people who are very well off and they're losing a home or a second home. And there's so many in them. And I that aren't in that position, that are losing their only home. And you don't want this to happen to anybody, but she was kind of making that distinction.
I didn't read it, but Sylvia mentioned it in the Discord about the insurance. The insurance is like freaking joke. No insurance was canceled for fire protection weeks ago. And then I heard the outrage here about this too, that it was pretty bad too. We should all do our best to be prepared for any disaster and do our best to help our fellow people when it strikes. Absolutely.
Completely agree with her on that. I'm going to link all the videos and clips down below so you can check them out. She did a great stream on this, went over some other news resources. Make sure that you check that out. Let's see here. Dusty, good to see you. Dusty Soda Dispenser. Love this community. Please subscribe to everyone. Let's keep growing this community together. Love you all. Mama Opal says, because what you want when your house burns down is a booklet to get you through. Yes. No, thank you. Thank you. No, thank you, Scientology. Stasia Anna says, hi, I know you lost everything in a fire, but pay this $200 for a free session. Exactly. That's the thing. It will not stop them from trying to disseminate. I mean, the vibe I get is kind of like a little like, ooh, we're going to have this captured audience of people that we can recruit into Scientology who are so vulnerable and hurting. Gary Meek says, being from LA, I have at least 3 dear friends who have lost everything. My heart breaks for them. So sorry about that, Gary. Nisa says, are they going to even lend a hand to help and not pertain to the volunteer ministers? We shall see. Hopefully there will be people who are seeing them and can maybe even catch some of it on video and see what they are actually doing, what's happening. Nancy Couch says, Scientology needs to get off of their ivory tower and actually do some good right now. This is the perfect time. I agree. They have so many resources. They have volunteers who are willing to jump in. And there are Scientologists that truly believe that they are helping. Most of them, or they wouldn't be doing it with the volunteer ministers, even though they push heavy, get a photo or video, something, so that they can use it as, as a PR, as a public relations op. But I agree. Hopefully they get out and help. Let's see. Nutmeg says, in my early 20s, I sold jewelry for an MLM, and it was just like this. Every single thing that happened, we were supposed to figure out how to turn it into a sales opportunity. Wow. And that is the case with Scientology. I know that for a fact. Let's see. Stasia says, we had a biolab fire here in Georgia, and I know the smoke air quality warning went well over 50 miles. I can only imagine how bad it is with spreading wildfires. Shaking my head. I hope everyone stays safe. I agree. I totally agree with you there. All right. Now let's take a look at, this is from Film the Police LA. This is William Gude. I don't know about you guys. Put a 1 in the chat if you were watching William Gude or Jessica Palmadessa last night and freaking out. I know I was. At one point, we're going to look at a clip close to the time that this happened. William Gude was over by the entrance at Runyon Canyon where the fires were coming down, and right there. And he got the helicopter. There were helicopters back out dumping water on the fires. This is something that couldn't happen earlier because the winds were crazy strong. And now they're back out and they're dumping water. And William got water dumped on him. And I'm sure some other people there as well. So he was soaking wet, which what I'm assuming is ocean water too, salt water. Because I think they're going and getting it from the ocean and bringing it over. It was intense. I mean, it was crazy watching this in real time and seeing Jessica Palmadessa was evacuating and live streaming and had to go get gas, made sure she had her car full of gas. She had what she needed. She seemed to really have her head on and was, you know, thinking about what she needed to do in this crazy situation of being stuck in traffic. So it seems like a lot of you watched as well. It was something, and I'm going to link it down below. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It was stressful to watch this. So again, this is William Gude from his Film the Police channel.
Drop the water right there.
So you can see it's kind of dark, but basically he's filming and sharing how the helicopters are out and they are dropping water on the fires. You can see the flashing light there. They're going by with tons of water and just dumping it.
We're in the Hollywood Hills, guys. Here comes another drop.
I don't know if you can see that one more clearly. Another helicopter comes by and it's just dropping water. And that is making a difference from, you know, what we could see, from what I was hearing, and even what William was saying. Having those helicopters and the ability to fly and actually go get the water and dump it is making a big difference. Venus Blue, it was hard hearing William sad last night and talking about how much he loves Hollywood. Truly, there's a lot of history there. I hate to say it, but this is like, it's still the beginning of this. This is going to be going on, and then there's going to be the cleanup, and there's so much that can happen between now and there. There's going to be so many people who are displaced and who have lost so much. I just still truly having a hard time wrapping my head around it. You guys tell me. Ray says, if it weren't for the helicopters, LA would be in flames. The fire hydrants were bone dry with no water. Wow. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Let's take a look now. Let's see here. Let's take a look at another clip. Where is this one from? I think this is when, this is still from Film the Police LA. Hold on. Let's take a look at this.
When I was on my way back over here 20 minutes ago, my neighbors were piling out of my apartment building with their suitcases.
They were like, you cannot move getting out.
Yeah, the parking lot. It was a parking lot. Everybody tried to go north. If they had gone to Sunset,
I was torn out. My one neighbor was like, she's like, do you have all your stuff? Do you need help? I was like, what? What do you mean?
I'm not joking. When I was on my way back over here 20 minutes.
I mean, just amazing. Amazing in all the bizarre and absolutely terrifying ways. There's another clip I'm going to show you just so you see what happened with the gridlock when people were evacuating. Hold on a second here. Just so many people trying to get out there, trying to contact their people. I just can't imagine. I cannot imagine that a lot of people are getting a lot of sleep over there right now too, as well. Colorado MNTN says, I think the wind is going to have to calm down for the situation to get more under control. It's not possible to fight against winds that strong. I agree. And that again is what we're hearing. And the winds did calm down. The helicopters could get out to be able to drop the water. But I was just hearing on the news that the winds are expected, that they're actually expected to actually pick back up again. Colorado Mountain. I just got it now. Oh, in Colorado, Minnesota, Tennessee. I mean, did you like bounce between each location? Now I get it. Andrew says, I find it odd how everyone said 2024 was the end of Hollywood. Now it's actually gone. Well, not gone just yet, but definitely at threat of being gone. Venus Blue says there was a bad fire near the Getty Images building. That's so much history. So true. And Amber Vanessa, I spent pretty much my entire childhood in Los Angeles. That's true. Amber Vanessa grew up in the Sea Organization right there at those blue buildings. Becky says, our water pressure is low. Our neighborhood markets have no water. Several places still have no power as of last night. Mom's rehab center was still on generator, but safe. Becky, thanks for jumping in and letting us know how you're doing and what's happening where you are as well. Becky also had some footage. If you go on her channel, you can check that out. And I'm sure there will be more, but I'm so glad that you're here. Now, I had a conversation yesterday with Gary Jackson Morehead, who is the security chief at Scientology's international base. Their confidential location, confidential to Scientologists, but known to anybody else who knows how to use Google Maps. I wonder if they still keep it from Scientologists and keep it confidential and don't tell people in the Sea Org where it actually is, if they have all those same security protocols. I'm wondering about that. Anyways, Jackson had a lot to share. So we're going to look at a couple clips from him. And also, so you guys know, Jackson has an amazing story and he is all the tea when it comes to that international base as the man who was the security chief for it. I'm going to sit down with him next week. We're going to do an interview. I think we're doing it on Monday. Let me just double check. I think we are. Yeah. Monday right now it's looking like 1 p.m. my time, 1 p.m. Central time. Hopefully you guys can tune in for that. If not live, catch it on the replay. So let's take a look at this clip with Jackson and hear what he had to say. He had some really good advice about what to do. And even those of us not in the LA fires, I was like taking notes. I had to go back and watch the video to just kind of take some notes because a lot of what he said, I thought, you know what, I should be doing that here.
If you feel imminent or any potential most likely event to evacuate, pull your curtains down, move your furniture to the center of the room, all around your house. Make sure all your windows are closed. Do not leave anything open. Removing the flammables and combustibles from any glass is going to save you tremendously.
I would never have thought that about the fire coming through the glass and moving things away from the window like that.
Yeah. Secondly, once you kind of secured, if you have a pool, throw all your pool furniture and anything outside in your pool. Just go around quickly. If you're in a haste, just start chucking stuff in the pool. You can get it back later. It's secure. You don't want to fill the pool up because it may be used as a water resource for your firefighters. Putting a portable pump in there, or a chopper may come in and put the Bambi bucket in there and dip out. If you feel imminent.
Really good tips. He also shared, we're actually going to look at a couple of clips. He just had such great information. And again, even if you don't live in that area right now, these are things, this is a good lesson for all of us and eye-opening when you hear about how there are steps that we can take to be a little bit more prepared should something like this happen where you live. And I think that's an important conversation to have. And while we're doing our best to support people in California, I think it's also a good time to kind of take an inventory and have a plan for yourself and your family. What would you do in case of a fire or a natural disaster? I mean, look at the situation of being out of water, what Becky is saying. What is going to happen? I mean, people don't tend to, my hope is that people band together and work together. And I'm sure there'll be some of that, but we also know what else we're going to see. Jessica Palmadessa, when she was evacuating, she saw looting right in front of her car, people breaking into a building. Anyways, let's get to this other clip here. Let's listen to this also from Jackson. About, you were the security chief too at Scientology's confidential base that everyone knew about except any Scientologist.
Yeah.
What do you think is happening right now? What would be the protocol that Scientology would have to follow to keep their people safe? What do you think is happening behind the scenes there right now? Because this affects them too, not to mention other Scientologists who might be coming in for services or anything like that.
Well, services would be shut down. I will tell you this, Natalie. They're the last people in the world to get themselves properly educated. professionally educated. When I held the post of security chief, I was given carte blanche to create a volunteer firefighter program where myself and a number of guards and other staff joined the local fire department, got trained, certified, and we're responding to local emergencies to help the local society. I don't think that program's at play. From that grew a lot of drills, a lot of procedures, a lot of wake-up calls internally about things we've never done that we should do, hazardous materials, calling the use of 911.
Jackson's going to talk a lot more about this when we sit down next week. But I thought that was interesting to learn that when he was there, that there were protocols in place, that there were fire protocols, that they were actually getting educated by the fire department and finding out, hey, what do we do? And following that advice, putting that in place versus let's go see what L. Ron Hubbard said about fires. Oh, hand out way to happiness books. What's happening now that he's not there? Because I did ask him that question, and it sounded like he didn't think anything was being done, that those things were not still in place. So, and he also talked about how, though they might shut down Scientology services, right? They're not going to shut down the orgs themselves. Some of them they're opening up, it sounds like, for people to come in and take shelter and to get some resources if they need them. And I asked him if they were told in order to evacuate, would they actually evacuate? In fact, let me see. Did I clip that? Let's watch this other clip first, because I think he answers it here. If not, I will tell you what he said. If Scientology were pushed to evacuate, that they would not, that they would push back against that.
They would reduce to minimum staff, but they would, there's security that has to be kept in. I mean, they're not going to open the doors to CST or church.
And, CST is the Church of Spiritual Technology. That's a very, very high up in the world of Scientology that kind of works independently in a way of the rest of the structure of Scientology. And they do the vaults, building L. Ron Hubbard's homes around the vault for in case of the apocalypse, which makes me wonder, are they thinking now activate the vaults, I don't know, but Scientology, that one thing they did prepare, and I got to say, and I'm just going to go off right now because this pisses me off. Scientology has spent millions of dollars building vaults into mountains and underground and homes for L. Ron Hubbard to come back to, which he is not coming back from. We all know this. Millions of dollars, so much money. For what? For what? To protect the works of L. Ron Hubbard. The videos, the lectures, the policies. That's what you're saving. This is what Scientology is protecting and puts money into protecting, not their staff, not their members, not their people. They protect the word of L. Ron Hubbard over everything else. And the fact that that is what they put their money into, and they got Scientology public to pay for this, millions of dollars, says a lot. If you're going to build a bunker, why don't you make room for people? Or I don't know, for all we know, maybe it is. And it's only going a few high up, people in Scientology get to go. I don't know. But I think it says a lot that that's where your focus is and has been for years. In case of an apocalypse, well, we got to make sure L. Ron Hubbard's works and words are protected. We got to make sure there's a crank e-meter in there. We got to make sure there's a crank thing to play the metal discs with his lectures. Who's going to come find that stuff? I cannot with these people. I cannot. You guys tell me what you think about that. It is, Marcy. It's so infuriating. This isn't a new thing that they've been doing. That's why it's hard for me to believe that they truly are doing these things to help people who are in need. I wish it was true. Trust me when I tell you, there's nothing more that I rather say and report on is that they actually did something good that helps, and they're not doing it because of their own interests. I would love that because it would help people. They have the resources to help people in Los Angeles being affected by these fires. They do, including their own public. So we'll see. We shall see what they will do. We shall see what they will do. Okay, nice little cleansing breath. Let's just, shut off that negativity. Where's my sage? Here. Little Palo Santo, not lit up, but still. Woo! All right, moving on, you guys. Moving on. Let's look. I think I have. Wait, okay, here. We're in the middle of this one clip from Jackson. I want to get this finished up. Let's finish watching it.
Just lock the freaking door and run and come back later. So what if somebody comes in? They don't think that way. That's the illogic. That's what scares me. They cut themselves short of logic.
Exactly.
By operating in fear, with that fear culture that exists deep within their soul bones, and the culture of the environment. Right now, any church property that would be a threat, from my knowledge of the fires right now that are ongoing, is a Montrose or Valley Org.
It's so interesting to me, his perspective based on what things were like during his time in the Sea organization, because you can kind of predict, because Scientology tends to just do the same thing, right? Office of Special Affairs. Before we go further, we should wake you up. I know it is Thursday, y'all. And you know what Thursday means? It is Scientology's week. Goes from Thursday at 2 to Thursday at 2. David Miscavige, please wake up your Office of Special Affairs. Woo! Office of Special Affairs. Well, you heard everything that we're talking about. I am not going to repeat myself, but please, please, please take actual steps, real steps to help people, because there's so many people in need, and it's also your own people. There are Scientologists who are losing their homes too, who are in harm's way. Let me grab a couple of these questions and stuff so I don't get too behind. Reality is altered. When you show a video, can you swap the size? Oh, yep, I did that. Thank you. Thank you. I get stuck on one frame and then I forget to switch it over. I appreciate that. Let's see. Ray says they redirect all of the water in Northern California for a fish called the smelt. It all goes to the Pacific Ocean. This is why they have this problem. Also, they have rules to not touch forests. Okay. Linda Lou says William was saying which area was burning while watching the fire. It was surreal. He was very concerned about a historic mansion. Thankfully, the wind shifted east, saved the mansion and Hollywood. Although I don't think it's over yet, Linda. They are still very much at risk there in Hollywood. Colorado Mountain, I see so many people asking why all the houses are built out of wood on various comment sections. And for the record, it's because brick and concrete shatter in earthquakes. Thank you so much for sharing that. Johnny says, I'm not from LA. I just visited last week. Why is it so green? 30 minutes north of Los Angeles. I guess I'm guessing, I don't know exactly where you were looking, but maybe that's where the fires are not. Tory Magoo 44 did an interesting video outside her place in Burbank yesterday where she showed you could see the smoke, the sky was dark, and she turned around and it was blue skies, nothing but blue skies, because it's coming from a direction. So I suppose that's still possible. I would want to head towards the blue sky as much as I possibly could. Money doesn't stop Mother Nature. That's right, Bina. That is so right. Very true. Amber Vanessa says, my husband tells me to go in the basement if there's a tornado, but we have half a basement and there's no way out except for the door upstairs. So I told him, you need to get me a hatchet. Not a bad idea. Again, I think would be healthy for all of us to kind of think about where you live, what are the emergencies that can occur in your area, and how can we be better prepared for them? Asen, do you think people would loot and take away from the trash LRH roads? Well, interesting thing about those vaults, how's anybody going to get in them? If they're watched over by just a couple of Sea Org members who keep an eye, keep the house up, make sure L. Ron Hubbard has his clothes just in case. I don't know. Let's see. Asen also says this would be the opportunity for Davey to lose the OT stuff. Things happen, right? Yeah, to claim that OT 9 and 10 was misplaced in this disaster. Could be. Colorado Mountain says there's no way that they're doing this to help people. Their regular abusive behavior shows that their priority is not the well-being of any living things. That's true. It is. Their priority is all about Scientology and protecting Scientology. I mean, you guys know this. I am preaching to the choir on this. But this is what makes it scary and dangerous. If they're ordered to evacuate, what's going to happen to the Sea Org members? Will they be allowed to evacuate? Where are they going to go? Mostly, will they be allowed to evacuate? Jackson was talking about how they would keep a skeleton crew still there to protect their property and the confidential materials. Why not, like he said, walk away, lock it up, walk away. If people get in, they get in. But to have Sea Org members or staff members there or public Scientologists to protect a building and materials, all things that are replaceable, is just beyond me. But I can see them doing that. I can see them doing it. And I'm stressed about it. I feel for all the people in the area, but I'm thinking about like these Sea Org members. Would some of them just leave anyways? Let's talk about their family members. You're a family member. You can't reach your child, your family member, your loved one, your friend, whoever who's in the Sea organization, because most of them don't have phones. You don't know what's happening. You don't know where they are, if they're okay. Are they going to evacuate? There's so many aspects of this, so many unknowns. And things that frankly just kind of like stress me out, as you can tell. Carla's loving wife. Hi, Natalie. After listening to him, I see Scientology a little different. Cult of Scientology thinks and acts more like a sovereign state than a church, still a cult. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. That is true. They do. They see themselves as like their own independent country. They believe that Scientology and Sea Org rules and law and policy is senior to the law that the rest of us have to handle. And I know this with 100% certainty because I was in the Sea organization in Scientology, but also I've had it told to me. You guys might remember I shared the story of when I went to get my daughter in Los Angeles, and the person in charge of the boot camp for Sea Org members who wasn't letting her go. And I'm like, hey, she's a minor. I'm her mom. You need to hand her over to me. That's the law. I have rights as a parent. And he said, no, I didn't. No, you don't. Sea Org law is senior to, and then he used the word we don't say anymore to describe people not in Scientology, but also has a very worse meaning in the UK. So we don't say it. Non-Scientologists. That Sea Org law is senior, more important to follow than the law that the rest of us follow. I just like, that is how they think. That's why this is so scary. The fact that they might not let people leave when they should, or leave in time. Janet from another planet, thank you so much for the reminder to tap that like button. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you're on the replay and replay crew, make sure you hit that like as well and hit that subscribe. Set your notification bell to all, because I actually am going to jump on again and do another video because there's other Scientology related news I want to get to. But we got to do it separately just because there's so much here on just this one point. Stasia says, that's some North Korea stuff right there. Don't evacuate. Just save all the documents and photos of our leader. Exactly. The cafe life. The Sea Org people are used for horrible conditions, stacked bunk beds and no care. Hence, they are well-equipped left to struggle. They're well-equipped to struggle, yeah, and not necessarily push back, and to blindly trust the Sea Org, to blindly trust David Miscavige, because that's a whole cult thing. Not thinking for yourself or not being allowed to get information from anywhere else. These Sea Org members aren't sitting around a television or watching YouTube live coverage of what's happening. They're working. They're doing their regular posts. Maybe some of them are put onto, going and dealing with people who they think are going to come and take shelter at these Scientology organizations. But they're working. They don't stop working. Julie says the Hollywood Hills evacuation order lifted at 7:30 this morning, California time. That's awesome. Let's hope that it stays that way. Baby girl, that's crazy, Nat. Exactly. It is. It really is. It really is. Let's see here. There is an article I wanted to share. I'm going to link it below because it goes over resources if you're in that area, how to help those affected by fires raging across Los Angeles County. Many of you live further away, not even in the state, and there are ways that you can help too with some valid organizations, not Scientology. I'm going to link this down below. Of course, the Red Cross. It tells you what it does. It tells you where to reach out. California Fire Foundation, Canine Rescue Club, and more. There's more resources there. So I will link that down below. And if you are in that area, just, make sure that, that it's a valid form of help, like the Red Cross, especially if you're donating money. Don't donate your money to Scientology's volunteer ministers. Do not do that. Do not do that. Aloha to everybody who are jumping in here. The real life school. These fires are unimaginable. I found out yesterday my sister and her family lost their home to the Eaton fire. I'm heartbroken. Real life school. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad that your family got out of there. Gail, won't they hide in the tunnels if the fire is bad? I suppose going underground is an option. I honestly don't know. I don't know that they'd be able to get everybody down there. It probably really just depends on what is going on. Hey, Joe Buchanan, Irish Mart, I see you there. Pat, sure. What about the places off the grid, like the place Shelley is at? Are they at risk? I'm not sure. I would have to look at a map to see where Shelley is at, Shelley Miscavige, in relation to these fires. As we understand it, Shelley Miscavige is working at one of these confidential locations, keeping things, tied down for when L. Ron Hubbard returns. But I don't know. And same thing, okay, here's what scares me. I can imagine Sea Org members who would literally put their lives on the line to protect Scientology or Scientology buildings and property. When it's just buildings and property, we all know you can rebuild it. You can rebuild that stuff. But more people could lose their lives. And this is my concern with Scientology. Are they letting their people know really how bad and dangerous this is? What is happening to people who have respiratory issues that might be in the Sea organization with all of this smoke? Are they going to allow them to get medical care? What's going to happen when there are so many people, more people needing medical care at the hospitals? Like, what are they going to do? I don't think that Scientology is prioritizing the well-being of people, their people, over other things like photo ops and volunteer minister programs. Let's see. Linda Lou says, I know that fire has its own mind. It will travel where it wants to go. Also, until every single ash burnt item is cool to the touch, it can reignite. Exactly. And if that wind picks up again, that is a complete game changer. I mean, they really just cannot keep up. Buckled Up Buttercup, do the Sea Org members have any idea what's going on? At some point, if not already, usually like people would be brief. They would brief the base on what was happening and what was to be expected of them. So they might know to a degree, but all their news is coming through Scientology's funnel. So are they telling them everything? Do they really understand the severity of this? They're surrounded almost by fire. I don't know. I would doubt it. You guys tell me what you think. I don't think so. I don't think they would know. Colorado Mountain, if they let people die in the fire, the negative publicity they'll get will be extreme. But for the sake of those human beings, I sincerely hope they let them get out if they need to get out. I agree. You'd think that too, for no other reason. But they will put them in harm's way to protect Scientology buildings and material over human life. That's the unfortunate reality of it. And my hope is that any Sea Org members or Scientologists who find themselves in that position also realize that walk away, get out of there, go to the Red Cross, go somewhere, but you can get out of there and you do not have to stay there. And you don't have to continue to do what they say. Amber, And if you do say no, I'm scared, I want to evacuate or complain about anything, they will get in your face screaming at you and they call you a whole bunch of different names. That's true. And then you're assigned to manual labor and you're put under 24-hour security watch. Somebody has to be with you to make sure you don't take off. Totally right, Amber. Sharona says, hopefully they still have a huge supply of masks and pass them out. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. I think you're right, Asen. Wasn't Shelley's place Twin Peaks? Is that in the fire area? You know, I don't know. Does somebody want to do a quick check and let us know? Is Twin Peaks in the fire area? Let me know. Put it in the chat. Jump in those comments if you find out. Oh, here, Buckled Up Buttercup says, I checked a map. Twin Peaks is well away from the current fire zone. So she would be well away from that. She would be further away from that. Let's see. Jolie says, maybe self-preservation will kick in and they will leave. You never know how you're going to react to a life-threatening event until you're in it. That's so true. That is true. It was a life-threatening event that made me realize I'm leaving Scientology. I don't care. I don't care. I'm taking my kids with me. I don't care if my husband leaves me. I don't care if my family leaves me. It was like, that was the last straw. I was in Seattle visiting friends in Scientology and was at a mall. We were in a mall shooting. And while I was hiding in the back of a Journey store, I was like, dang, like I could die today, still stuck in Scientology. And it was in that moment that I realized I don't care what it costs me. I'm taking my children and I'm leaving. But my plan was to try and get out as many family members as I could. And I did. It took me 2 years of having to play along and pretend I was still on board with Scientology so that I could work with my family and especially my oldest daughter and get them out of Scientology. So these, when you're faced with something life-threatening, I think for many of us, it puts a lot of things in perspective. And that is my hope too, with Scientologists who are realizing, and even Sea Org members, that this isn't worth putting their life on the line for. Carla's loving wife says they are so indoctrinated that they can't see it as a building or stuff. They seem to see it as a cult of Scientology, Ark of the Covenant, or something more than human. You're right, because why build these vaults? I think there's 4. And each of them has a house. Liz Gale, good to see you. Sadly, fire counts as messed. And messed in Scientology is matter, energy, space, and time. It's all this physical stuff. And some people think they can outsmart or outmaneuver it. But in volatile conditions like this, it's foolish, blind faith, scary. You're so right, Liz. Because, you know, I mean, let's be real. What does Scientology do? Let's talk about Clearwater in Florida when there's a hurricane coming. The operating thetans get together and they use their powers to move the hurricane away. Do they think they can do this with the fire? Yes. Yes. And when I was involved in Scientology, 9/11, for example, I was in Los Angeles when that happened. We didn't know all of what was happening. I barely knew. There was a television where I was staying. I was a Scientology public then. That's why I was staying someplace that had a TV. And before I went on course that day, like I saw what happened. And their briefing to us was that what we're doing here and now is so much more important because of what's happening in the world, that the thing we need to do is do Scientology and it'll make this situation over here better. So they become even more dedicated in ways, or at least some do, when they use these things to fire people up. They're going to have to be telling people, go in session, do your Scientology auditing while Hollywood is burning down around you, because they believe that that is the solution to calm things down out in the world, is for senior operating thetan Scientologists to get rid of body thetans attached to them or as far away as on the moon, and to free them. And that this is what will help all of the chaos. I just cannot with these people. Scary Mac, would they not be asking their OT 8 and 9s? Well, there's no OT 9s because it doesn't exist. They've only done through 8. why they aren't using their powers to stop the fires, or at least be really horrified that Scientology hasn't worked to stop it. Exactly. They think that's what's going to happen. They're all using their intention, right? Liz Gale, you know. It's scary. That's true. That's true. Reality is altered. Scientologists think the body is just a rental. It's a piece of meat. It's messed. It's matter, energy, space, and time. They call it meat. That's why they call new recruits into Scientology or people coming in for a personality test raw meat. That's their word, not ours. They call them raw meat. It's a meat body. It kind of grosses me out even saying that. But they have to say that because then it takes the importance off of self-preservation and themselves. Because again, in Scientology, if they're going to ask people to put their lives on the line in these fires for Scientology, of course they have to convince them that this is just meat. You can get another one. It is just crazy. And my hope is some do take the opportunity to leave. Andrew says, I guarantee little Davy is not even in the state. He's as far away as he could get. I think so. Do we think maybe he went to Clearwater, Florida, out of the country? Yep, Liz Gale, raw meat plus fire equals. Exactly. I agree with you. I don't think he's there either. I don't think we're going to see him out there, passing water buckets, handing out food, none of that stuff. We're not. There could be process servers around still. And they are David Miscavige's kryptonite, as are people who live stream and protest Scientology. Let's see. Nisa, I think I read that one. With the fire, they have the opportunity to leave. Yeah, it is an opportunity, and I hope that some of them take it. But some of them might be, worried too. Like, where are they going to go? Walking Dawn, thank you. He probably went to Europe. That's a possibility. Liz Gale says, yes, David Miscavige can't be interbulated by low air quality. Thank you, Liz Gale. And you are so right. That's the whole thing. He can't be interbulated by bad air quality. And I'm pretty sure, too, I think he has asthma, or at least he used to. Still did. I think he claimed that Scientology cured it, but did it really? I don't know. Carla's loving wife. This is just meat. You can get another one. Holy crap. That's very frightening. Why are they still in existence? That's the $1 million question. It really is. It really is. Andrew, right? That would be the most dedicated process server of all time. Yeah, you weren't kidding. Susan Gude grandma says he's on a private yacht in the Riviera. I could see David Miscavige doing that. Liz Gale says, I hope all are safe from this tragedy, truly and really. Absolutely. Anna, what did David Miscavige do to pull this in? Exactly. Yeah, Cajun Mama, I have asthma and smoke don't go well. Exactly. Yeah. And that, there's just so many people I'm worried about, and especially people who don't have access to the media to know what's actually going on, to know that they have shelters and things they could go to. This would be a great time to blow the Sea organization, because there are shelters that are open that they could go to, or go actually help a legitimate organization. Now, Amber Vanessa says, my mom also said that she cured her asthma because of Scientology. I don't think so. I think Florida just helped her with her asthma because of the weather. I would agree with that, because, yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Bina, this is a frightening possibility. They may be on lockdown to prevent escapes. Because one thing we know about Scientology is they know their people like to run away. This is why they have multiple roll calls during the day, to be all like, did anybody leave? Did anybody leave? Is Joe still here? Is anybody accounted for? Anybody take off? Hermie, thank you for catching up on the replay. Cassie, I agree. It was very stressful watching Jessica last night. Both Jessica Palmadessa and William Gude on his Film the Police channel. Check it out if you haven't. MD Media had some great footage as well. Tory was creating content. There's something I'm supposed to tell you guys that I feel like I'm forgetting. I told you about Jackson. I told you I'm going to do another video later today. Nancy, do you remember? I might have already said it, and I just think I'm forgetting something. Andrew, yes, I didn't even think of them locking them all in. They do. Remember the spikes at the international base on the fence? There's inward facing spikes. A lot of what Scientology does is to keep people in, not necessarily out as well, but to keep them from leaving. This is why people, especially who worked on the international base, share their escape stories, like literal escape stories, because you have to get through the gate. You have to get past security. How do you do that with any of your stuff, especially if you don't have a car? That's why they're not down with people having cars and motorcycles, because guess what happened in the Sea Org? That is how they will leave and blow. Bo Beat, will the Scientology volunteers help with the fire? I really doubt that. I really doubt that. They're going to be at Scientology buildings trying to protect Scientology buildings and property. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully, this fire doesn't continue to spread further into Hollywood, but I don't know, you guys. These winds picking up again, it is a mess. It is just a mess. Carolyn says, if David Miscavige is in Europe, can you keep him, please? We don't want him back. No backs. No backs. Right, you guys, that's what I got. I'm going to be back on later. Do me a solid. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Check your subscribe if you think you're subscribed. Thank you so much for being here and all of the aloha. Keep supporting your other protesters and live streamers who are out there and the people who live in the area. And again, I think it's a great time to think about where you live. What are your natural disasters that you might want to think about a plan? Because this has been a huge eye opener, I think, for many of us. So I will see you all later. I hope you all get out and have an amazing cult-free day.